Okay, tonight we'll be discussing the Lands and Resources Department, Treaty Land Entitlement, for Trust, and the 4C Farms and Ranch. And at any time, we are open to any discussion while we're in that area. And then when we've concluded all the area, the floor is open for any and all discussion regarding tonight's topics. So if we could ask Alec on behalf of Lands and Resources to come up here and to share all the exciting stuff that they're doing. Next slide, please. And when you're done, just tell them next slide.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Alex Leroy. I just got thrown up here, so I'm just gonna kind of wing it. No, I appreciate being up here. It's not used to it, but Lands and Resources Department, our staff director is Loretta Delorme. Receptionist is Stephanie Delorme. She's right over there. Terrence Leroy is Lands Leasing Officer, and I'm Lands Leasing Officer number 2. Terrence Leroy the third. Wade Leroy, sorry. ATR TLE consultant is Ralph Beatty. Next slide, please. Stats and numbers. Cowessess land base. Home reserve, 28,000 acres. TLE reserve is 66,850 acres. Fee simple is 14,800 acres. Agriculture acres on reserve is 12,228, and off reserve agriculture acres is 44,000. Total acres is 56,228. Grasses, waters, and wooded acres on reserve, 16,000, and off reserve is 36,000. Total grassland acres is 52,000. Next slide, please. Update. Key points: responsible for overseeing the protection of Cowessess lands, developing and implementing land use plans to ensure sustainability with respect to cultural and traditional values, and work with leadership members and departments to address growth and changes. 4C Farms. Thank you. Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah, so I'm currently going to school right now. It's my second year for land management. After that, I'll be a certified land manager. With that, we bring a lot of technical support, and that's what I'm going to deliver here. So in 2024, as a lands leasing officer, what I'm trying to do is collect data on reserve particularly. So we've spent a lot of time managing files for off reserve, trying to get the rates up and get the revenue collected as high as we could, optimizing revenue. So on reserve this year, 24, we're trying to accommodate the growth and understanding of our reserve. So I got drone footagery, I got mapping that I do to help report, right? So in the past, we had a lot of numbers, we had a lot of words. These days, we bring in imagery, drones, so it's more transparent to make decisions and that sort of thing. To streamline it to the people, I think that's the next goal, and to try and get everybody to understand what we have and how it looks. So, by the end of 2024, we're gonna have a more descriptive understanding of the home reserve, and that's gonna fall into how housing, how infrastructure works, how we all connect together. So if anybody's familiar with a GIS system, it's geographical information. It's a digital platform for our land base. I don't want to get into it too much, but there's a group called SALT, Saskatchewan Aboriginal Land Technicians, and they're going to be rolling out a GIS system that targets First Nation operations. So you're gonna have your chief and council, then you'll have your departments. Each department can include information, whether it's housing, infrastructure, lands, and all of that's supposed to cater to the collective understanding and the holistic use of information for the First Nation. So that's the technical aspect that I'm trying to bring to the table, and utilizing my education. We need the communication. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of what's happening. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, right. Yeah, so we put on a what is that called? We hosted an evening where we talked about food sovereignty. A lady named Glenda Abbott who came down, and she talked about the history of food, and I guess the significance of what wealth means. Now, in modern days, we talk about our financial and economic drive, but in actuality, the soils and the grasses and the wildlife are what wealth was back in the day, right? So 100, 200 years ago and before that. And so I think that if the message that she was delivering is kind of goes back to what Councillor Terry mentioned before, is that we got to go one step back to move forward. And so the concepts that she delivered, I can bring all that stuff up too. So if you come see me, I'd be happy to share any information. And I guess I'll leave it with that too. So I'm down at the office. You can talk to me whenever, and we can accommodate what you guys' inquiries are. And thank you. Sorry, I'm just trying to get out of here. I'll stick around.
Got the question in the back here? Again, we got the question here in the house.
How are we comparable or comparable with our land leases? Is it our, what do you call that, fair market value rental rates? Are we comparable with everybody else, or are we still lower than the outside?
No, so for the past 2 years when I came on board, it was slightly below. It was around 35 to 45 an acre. My first year, so in 23 we had 76 land renewals. The year before that, I think it was around 40 or something. So it was the last 2 years was the major bulk of the negotiations. Off reserve, we're sitting around 65 an acre. That's pretty comparable to anything out there. We have $100 acre up here, 90 acre up here. So I don't know the exact figures. I think we almost doubled land revenue in the last 2 years. On the home reserve, it's 90 an acre. 90 an acre, 95 an acre to 100 an acre actually is what it is. Yep. Yeah, as long as nobody's has outstanding payments or they're that sort of thing, we move along with them. And that was a little bit of my approach, is that I knew that there was competition out there. So once that 195 was set, we just kind of went across the board with it. Same thing up there. I got 65. Once I got 65, I just spread that out. It was, they could take it or they didn't have to, but they did. So.
Are we in litigation with any of the leasers for non-payment or anything? Are we all good?
Yeah, we're all good. There's nobody I don't think is in arrears right now. No, I think we're good, yeah.
Pretty good then, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. Just make sure you, on behalf of the Christmas committee, you tell the farmers that gave us money for our Christmas fund, thank you very much.
You got it.
Line, no? Okay. Nobody in house? Anybody else? Okay, I guess you can go home.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next we have 4C Farms and Ranch, and we as council, we sit as the 4C Farms board of directors. And so this is separate from our role as chief and council. And when we contemplate matters with 4C Farms and Ranch, we actually close off meetings and then we start a new meeting, and then we ensure that business is separate, as well as within that, we take off our hats as chief and council, and our duty of loyalty and care then goes to the corporation of being board of directors for 4C Farms and Ranch. And we're very fortunate that we have Councillor Terry, or Director Terry, that has taken special interest. Very recently, what we have done as a board of directors is hire ECDev coordinator, and he is actually our technical person, but he's unwell tonight. So just like Alec came in and he pinch hit for Loretta, and thank you very much. We have Councillor Terry who's going to pinch hit for Gary because Gary is not well tonight. So I'm going to hand over the microphone to Councillor Terry, or Board of Director Terry.
Hello again. We'll see what Corey put up here. I don't know if he's trying to buck me off or what notes we made. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 4C Farms, the staff here is made up of, I'll just give you a little bit of history on 4C Farms. I might have did it already. I think I said this over and over again enough, but 4C Farms started with our desire to get the most out of our lands that we bought and our on-reserve lands. We see our neighboring white farmers farming our lands and taking home reaping all the benefits of it, from it, and giving us crumbs. So over the years, I've seen that, and that's where 4C Farms evolved from, to be, let's farm that land ourselves, and we'll make all the money and maybe create a better living for our own people. We'll go through these slides now. 4C Farms, the staff, Gary Sparvey through ECDev is our manager. We were always striving to employ our own people. For the last 3 years, we employed mostly white farmers and equipment operators because they had the know-how. This year we took a huge step to purchase our own equipment and hire our own band members to run it. So up there as equipment operators, we got Gordon Leroy as lead hand, and we got Dallas Redwood as operators. These are two very hardworking men. They proved over their lifetime that they like to get up early in the morning at daylight and work till dark. These are the kind of men that we thought we didn't have until we seeked it out. And we do have good, hardworking men on the reserve, and we're trying to use them. And eventually they'll take over the management of the farm. That's our goal. Gord's not quite ready for handling all the technical stuff, so we brought on Tim Johnson. And he's a farmer, local farmer, and he just sold a bunch of his land. He's a young guy. He wants to do something, but he obviously sold his land for cash. He has got a bunch of money on hand, so he doesn't really need a big salary. We got him at sale bargain bin price, you know. So he's here helping us now. He's gonna work hands-on with Gordon Dallas every day. Every hour they work, I told him you got to include Gordon Dallas with your decision-making and the reasons why you're making these decisions. We're gonna try fast track our two own band members to the top of the list here for managing our farm. Go ahead, flip it. I'll get on the ranch. Yeah, this is the farm part. Yeah. So 4C Farms update. The reason why we're farming our land too is because it's our land, and obviously it being our land, we're being the best stewards we can of our land to keep our land profitable. We need the land as much as it needs us. You know, if we don't look after the land, that's us. If we don't look after the land, pretty soon it won't be giving us any, we won't be reaping the high benefits we can. So we really got to care for our land. We got to be good stewards of our land. So we're farming approximately 55,000 acres of grain land, which is cereals and oilseeds right now. Legumes are a little more tricky to farm, but they're the most beneficial crop we could put on the land to rebuild the soil. So talking with Gord already this year, we got a plan to start including legumes in our rotations next year. We're not going to do anything. We're going to be very cautious and not do anything to get ourselves in trouble. We're going to take small steps, make sure we're efficient at where we're at now before we expand. That's the plan. So we got about 40% canola this year and 60% wheat. The wheat is always the first thing we seed because it takes a few more days to mature. It's around 108 days to mature. So we put it in the ground first. And the canola, I like to seed later, a little bit later, around May 15th. There's a couple of reasons for that, because it's a higher input crop, more expensive to grow, and it's susceptible to flea beetles. And their cycle is from as soon as the ground warms up to a growing stage, say about the 28th of May until about the 15th of May. So if we start, and flea beetles attack canola plants, you lose huge amounts of money on canola if there's a flea beetle infestation. So if we could strategically put our canola seed in the ground May 12th, it takes it a week to germinate. It should be coming out of the ground after May 16th, 17th, around that time. By then, the flea beetle cycle is gone. This is stuff you got to learn. These little things, little tricks you got to learn as you go along in agriculture. So it saves us from losing some of our plants due to flea beetles, and also we don't have to use chemicals and pesticides to get rid of these flea beetles. So there we're looking at a holistic way of managing our crop without poisoning some of the land through chemicals. We strive to farm like that. Yep. Yep, 5,500, not 55,000. I didn't catch that. Did I say 55,000? I'm sorry. Apologize. I should have caught it. Okay, so we're at asset management equipment in. No, back a little bit, yeah. Asset management equipment inventory and future purchases. This year is the first year we're buying our own equipment. All up until now, we were custom farming it. Our farm manager was using his equipment to farm our land entirely, and all his equipment. So we were paying for that equipment. When we crunched the numbers, we realized that the money we're paying our farm manager to use his equipment, we could take that same amount of money and buy our own equipment. So we're sinking quite a bit of money into buying our own equipment, but at the end of the year, we retain all that money through our equipment. So it's a pretty good move to buy our own equipment. So we will, in fact, our big tractor and air seeder was delivered today. So I can't wait to get out there and see it myself. I didn't. It's almost like looking at your first calf that hits the ground every year. Is it asset management? Demonstrated proficiency in farming current acreage rolls out in 1,500 to 2,000 acres yearly good. Okay, yeah, here we're getting it. I said that once already. We're not going to expand until we feel that we're efficiently and effectively utilizing the land that we're farming now. We're not going to get greedy. We're going to make sure we can handle every piece of land, every acre of land properly, rather than take a chance and expand too big and have a wreck and maybe lose money. That's the reason for that. And then at the bottom, the NCIAF, through 4C, I always promoted 4C, and somebody mentioned they seen me on that Spirit Talker program. I did a couple more documentaries and I guess I've been in a couple magazines now with 4C Farms and Cowessess. I promote 4C Farms or Cowessess through 4C Farms every chance I get. So I'm getting where Cowessess is getting some publicity out there through 4C Farms. Not only in Saskatchewan, I thought I was targeting only 3D4 in Saskatchewan, our own area. But all of a sudden, all of Saskatchewan is aware of 4C Farms because it's somewhat of a success. And now all of Canada. Last year, the National Farmers Union held their big conference in Ottawa, and they wanted Aboriginal Indigenous input in there. So they come out and they did a documentary on 4C Farms, and that gained a lot of publicity. That led me to doing a presentation at Agribition last fall, and more publicity from there. A new group was formed to try promote agriculture on First Nations. That's the National Circle for Indigenous Agriculture and Food. And that's the gardens I was talking about. Anybody wants gardens, that's producing food. You want to raise honeybees, that's producing food, promoting food. Cattle, livestock, bison, whatever. As long as it's promoting food, that's what the NCIAF is about.
Online, just related exactly to that. They want to know, is there any chance of the younger children being exposed to animals like you're talking about? Starting a children's club or going through the school somehow. She said, I had seniors tell me they're sad because they're not seeing children grow up with that experience, being exposed to farm animals and
Okay.
looking after them, knowing what they need and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'll get to that right here. Or maybe I'm taking too long to get to that question, but yeah, through this NCIF, they asked me to sit on to work with them. I guess I thought I was going up there to meet with them to just talk over agriculture in the classroom. That's what I'm always promoting. And here at the end of the day, they offered me a job, so it's too good to turn down. So I took it. I'm working with this group for a bit here, and I'll stay with them, promoting exactly what I like to promote, which is food production, agriculture for our own people. And that'll lead to a question that Terry just asked, or the person online. This NCIAF, it promotes food production in all areas. Doesn't matter where. I think in the city, we're going to start with container growing. And we are given a program from Ontario that's called One Tomato, and they gave the people one pot and one tomato to grow, and they reaped the benefits of that. And then all of a sudden the people were asking for gardens. We're using that same concept. I stopped at the urban office here on Wednesday or Tuesday. I was up there and visited with Jody, and I can't remember the other girl's name. And we talked about this, and they're just pumped. They're ready to go. I said, let's start with the seniors. Let's help the seniors. We'll give them some containers to grow vegetables in, and we'll help them coach them along and get them to include children in there to show them what they're doing. Get the kids involved. Use the knowledge and the wisdom from the seniors to get the kids involved and get them to develop a passion for growing their own vegetables and eating it. And we'll bring that into the rural areas, onto our First Nation out here. Maybe we can't, it's kind of late to start gardening this year, to start plowing up gardens, but we will develop gardens this year. That's my goal, is to develop gardens this year and summer fall them all year and prepare the ground for next year. And like I said, not huge gardens that are going to turn you off. I want just neat little gardens that you're going to like working and get up in the morning and go out and work a little bit and dig them fresh potatoes and pull some fresh cucumber, fresh tomatoes, and get to like it and share with your neighbors and stuff like that. Lots of ideas, but I don't know if we'll get them all through. This same program will promote small livestock or any kind of livestock. Say if somebody wants to raise chickens, we'll help them raise chickens. That's the goal. That's what they're saying. You know, we partnered with Farm Credit Canada and SaskAg to build this NCIAF. It's another pillar that sits with Farm Credit Canada and SaskAg. And this was because there wasn't enough First Nation people going to Farm Credit and to SaskAg to seek ways to get involved in livestock or food production. This is the pillar that we're going to use now. I was initially a little bit apprehensive about how I could help my own First Nation members. And they said they'll use us for a template. They'll use us to set the example. My own First Nation Cowessess. So they told me, don't be scared to help your own First Nation, because this was supposed to be across Canada, this program. But Cowessess has the front row seat as far as I'm concerned to this, and I'll be promoting it as much as I can. Of course, council will come first. My duties on council will come first. That'll grow into the small animals that we're talking about. I don't care if it's rabbits or chickens or what the heck, you know. Somebody wants to, we got Ivy up on top of the hill that likes to have an egg production company. We'll assist in that if we can, you know. Anything. I would like to get an incubator to put in the school for the elementary school to watch how chicks are hatched, you know. We seen that at home when I was growing up. That's awesome, you know. And might have trouble making them eat the chickens after, but that's all part of learning, you know, teaching kids about food production. I grew up with so many kids, there was never probably eating chickens. It was a fight to get the best piece. Yeah, no, this is a great thing going here, especially the livestock production. We got all this land here and let's make use of it. Let's get something for our families and young children, something for their lives to revolve around. That's what I'm all about. Is there another slide there? Okay, up at the ranch, 4C Farm started with 4C Farm started with the ranch in 2007. That's when this idea was born within, because I seen the white farmers almost fighting each other for the land that we developed after we built pastures around this marginal land, this poor land that they sold us, land that they wouldn't sell their own children because they couldn't make money on it. So they came and sold it to the Indians and thought they were getting a heck of a deal and kind of working us over. So we partnered with SaskAg and Ducks Unlimited and AFIF at the time, and we fenced the land, and Dean was part of this program too. He helped with it, made this land more productive. And you know what happened? After we had it all developed, them same farmers that were laughing at us for buying their land, they were fighting each other to rent the land back from us. So you start thinking, hey, what's going on here? There is something with that land. They want to put cows on that land. So let's run our own cows on that land. Started at 25 cows and evolved into 250 head now of high quality cows at the ranch. We got a manager up there. His name is Mark Pillar, and he's got a degree in animal science. He's a top-notch man, just easy to get along with. Never seen him get mad at any day in life of that I've been around him. And that's quality you have to have when you're working with livestock. If you're kind of a grumpy guy, grouchy and mad all the time, well, the animals are going to know that, and they're going to be stressed out, and you're not going to have a successful livestock farm. 4C Ranch is a great thing to use our marginal land and hopefully get more of our people into livestock. Part of the idea with 4C Ranch was after we got to a number of cows, around 300 or something like that, the idea we put together was take out small numbers of cattle for people that wanted to get into livestock and say 6, 8, 10 cows and loan them to people for 3 years, help them maintain them cows for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, they give the ranch back them 10 cows, 10 good productive cows, and they keep the offspring from them. And then they're on their own. There's kind of an aftercare program that we hope to go along with this. It's still in the sights here. I'll never give up on that. I want to see more of our band members raising cattle, along with raising their own good vegetables and everything like that. That's what that land is there for. It's for you people, not for chief and council, you know. It's for you people to make a living, a healthy lifestyle, a sustainable lifestyle, holistic lifestyle. Go ahead. Yep, currently the livestock count is 250 head of top quality cattle. We did bring the quality of the cattle up from February 2019, when I come on board. They went back to 4C Ranch and start buying the most expensive bulls we can. We bought some really high top-notch high quality heifers. The price of the calves went up from 2019 to last year. We raised the price of the calves. We're getting almost 4 times just by the quality, just by breeding better genetics. I'll have to say I got some of that knowledge from my dad and mom of good quality, but I really fine-tuned my knowledge on them when I was working for Double Bar D Farms. I stayed with them for about 15 years, and they were one of the top purebred livestock breeders in the world, in North America. Imported genetics from all over the world, and some of the things I learned from them I brought home to my own First Nation to practice on our ranch. So the price of cattle now is up pretty high. We're going to try buy another 50 replacement heifers here to build our herd again, but holy man, the price went up from $800 when I was buying cattle in 1989 to now it's around $4,500 a piece to buy a good top quality heifer like what I'd want to buy. So now the genetics in our female herd is so high that we're going to keep back some of our own replacement heifers. Some of the own animals that we breed and raise, we'll keep them back to build our herds ourselves because we know the quality. We don't have to go out and buy top quality animals from someplace else. We'll have a closed herd. We'll control the diseases much better if we have a closed herd without bringing livestock in from all over the province. And it's just a good management plan. And with Reed Pillar, it's coming together pretty good. A little plug I'll put in here for Reed Pillar. He breeds shoe quality cattle, and he sells them throughout Western Canada. And then when these steers and heifers are at livestock shows, they fly him to wherever they bought his stock, and he goes there and he fits them, and he shows them, and he wins a hell of a pile. He's got 3 steers on the market on the shoe trail right now, and they never lost a shoe yet in 2024. That tells us the quality and the intelligence of this guy on livestock. Yeah, so we'd like to retain our own heifers and get up to that 500 head number. At 250 head, we can't justify hiring 2 or 3 guys to look after them. When I was at Demlers, I looked after about 1,500 head by myself. With the machinery we have now, we could look after a pile of cattle by one guy, but it's working all day, I'll tell you. When we get to 500 head, then we'll start bringing some of our own members up there to feed, teach them how cattle husbandry, I guess we'll call it, and develop our own people, build their quality, build their lifestyle around cattle too. Hopefully they'll develop a liking for it. We're using top quality bulls. We spend a little more money on the bulls because in reality they're half the herd, half the calf crop. They're responsible for half the calf crop. So we use good top quality bulls, and quality will get a higher rate of return for cow calf. I explained that once already, that we raised the price of the calf we sell in the fall by 4 times already, 400% by using these top quality animals. The ranch house will be occupied soon up until now. When I first started, we were getting broken into and stuff was going missing. And it sure wasn't the native guys, I'll tell you, because there's farm equipment being stolen that no native person had a use for. So it was the local boys up there, I wouldn't say who, but I know who. They were taking it. So now we're going to have someone in the ranch house, and he's not here, so I'll just I'll leave it at that. We're going to rent the ranch house to Lou Leroy, and he's going to be our eyes on the ground up there 24/7. I don't think anybody will mess with Lou if he sticks his head out the door and yells. They'll take a look at him and get lost pretty fast. They'll want to get gone pretty quick. The ranch house, the facilities and the infrastructure, we're constantly improving the facilities up around the ranch to make it look like a real ranch. When we started, it was just ordinary rundown ranch yard that nobody wanted to live in. So we took it, that's where we run our cows, and it was pathetic really, And now it's starting to look like a real ranch after we're spending some money and building corrals and facilities of it. And I was always being asked to bring the school kids up there and give them a tour of the ranch, and I was embarrassed to, because it wasn't a ranch I'd bring them to. You know what? Now we're getting there. Pretty soon we'll be introducing our school kids to the ranch and showing them what it does. Well, we will be hiring band members to repair the fences this spring. We have a couple of good guys that we used off and on, tried to keep them on full time, but they like to work 3 months, then they're done. So these same guys, they're excellent at repairing fence and like to work for a little bit. So that's the guys we're going to bring back in to repair all the fences. That's where that we're going with there. And the goal is to hire more band members as we go along. I'll go back to farming out cattle to our individual band members. And I'll go back to the scattered houses on our TLE reserve land. That's where we could replace some of these members that want to expand off the original reserve and have their own little livestock operations. Between myself and Alec Leroy, we pretty much know all the quarters that have infrastructure on it. By infrastructure, I mean power and water. So that we don't, to run power in even 400 feet, it costs a hell of a pile, like almost 10,000. No, we're 40,000 to run it to the bin site across the road, maybe 150 yards. So we got to be really, really diligent when we pick sites where we might have built some houses for band members to move into. I'm talking power and gas and water, That's basically it. We want to help. I'll have to mention had a little talk with Alec today after our meeting at the lands office, and 4C Farms is trying to farm our own land to reap all the benefits of it. Now he's thinking down that same line. I like his aggressiveness. He said, let's farm all our own land. That's the message he put across to me. Let's farm all our own land we'll need, the way he's talking, we'll need 3 or 4 lines of equipment, and them 3 or 4 lines of equipment are gonna be able to farm 40, 50,000 acres, you know. And I was told that by some white people. Why don't you guys farm all your land? You know, be like the Hutterites. Look at how rich they are. They got anything they want. We'll get there. 4C Farms was the start. 4C Farms played a role in driving the rent up. As soon as we start taking back our own reserve land from these white guys that were farming it, they're paying around 45 to 60 an acre. Within a couple months, one of the big guys walked into the office and offered $95 an acre because 4C Farms was being a threat. That drove up the rent on all the rest of our lands on our original reserve, drew up the land rent north of the valley where the land is not quite the same high quality. Overall, I think we drove up our land rent by 35 to 40%. When you crunch them numbers that Alex showed here, that's a hell of a pile of money that we're bringing in through cooperating with the lands office and 4C Farms. You know, nothing but good happening out there with utilizing this land that was bought for our band membership to reap the benefits of. It takes the growing stages are slow, but you know what, we're getting there. There's a younger generation coming on that's gonna take my place down the road, hopefully. You know, we'll always be there to guide and help. I can't wait for them to come and take my place because I'm getting tired. Is there another one to go, or is that it? Food sovereignty. 4C donated 3 animals to the food. Yeah, the food hampers that were given to people. Councilor Ira put that out with health earlier on, and I think last year we donated 3 animals for hamburger, and we brought 1.5 up to the urban office for our members to share, all hamburger, you know. And this year we donated 3 animals again to the same purpose. There's some of it's going to the urban office as they need it. There's still some in the freezers down here, and it's to help our membership. Just it's a little bit, but it helps. But you know, when you look at these cows being worth 4,000 a piece, and we butcher 3 of them for our band membership, that's $12,000. You know, it takes another $3,000 to get them processed. You know, it's pretty soon you're looking at $15,000 that we turn back into our band membership. It seems mighty little, but it's a little bit, you know, and it'll get bigger. I guess I'll mention one or two. Yeah, we're getting there. This is my plan now. I would like to retain 10 to 15 steer calves and grow them up to finish. And I already talked with, Kay, what's the doctor's name that you work with at the IC with the graveyard project? The professor. Yeah, I talked to him. And he works out at Sask Polytech, right? Dr. Abdul, yeah. He works out at Sask Polytech, and this abattoir was my idea with talking with him. So I approached him and I said, Dr. Abdul, could we get Sask Polytech out to the First Nation to teach a beef cutting course, process our own beef? And he said, we talked for a while, we had quite a talk, and he said, well, then why don't you guys build a little abattoir and finish some of your own animals and market and give some, help your own people with food, but sell it through your own store. We got to brainstorming, and what we come up with is if we're butchering our own animals that were raised on Cowessess First Nation money on Cowessess land that was there for the public, for the band membership, why can't we build a little abattoir, butcher our own livestock, and sell it to our own people at the cost of production? You'll be bypassing all that markup that the feedlots make, the buyers make, and the meat cutters make. It's a dream, but you know, everything good starts with a dream. You just got to dream with your eyes wide open sometime. And that's what we're trying to do. There, I said it. Team up with Sask Polytech. I didn't think this was going there. Another slide, or is that it? That's good. So that wraps it up, and I'll take any questions. I think I could try answer any questions if there's any.
You got one online, Terry. Just the guy, when the band member is thinking about investing in farm implements or farm machinery. And if there's is there any tax implications like for
Nope.
buying these this equipment like you're talking about? No.
Buying farm implements is the biggest tax write-off. Building farm infrastructure is the biggest white tax write-off that the white farmers could use, and they use it, you know. The tax write-off, if they have extra money, say if they're gonna have to pay the federal government $15,000 or $40,000 on income tax because they make so much money, they'll take that for $40,000 and build a cold storage building on their farm. That's why you see all these big buildings on the farms. They build them as tax write-offs. And I got that from working with Demers. Why are you building so much buildings out in the middle of the field? Well, it's a tax write-off, you know. It's a place where we store our implements. So learn a little bit being out there.
One more comment online. They thought that doing garden things and the livestock, that's a kind of a family type of an activity, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, not just like the kids and stuff in school. You
Oh.
can get them started in there, but it's a family type of activity to take on at home.
It's for anybody. It's for anybody. Like I really like to assist the seniors on this. A lot of times seniors sit at home and they have nothing to do. So that's why we were thinking growing potatoes and tomatoes in a 5-gallon pail or a gallon pail. So we could put it up this high and they don't have to bend over to do it. It's for every age group that we can help.
Pretty good. That's a pretty good plan for the future, I think. And that's way down the line. And that's something that is a long time coming, actually. Anybody else online in the in-house or online?
No.
Anybody? Move on.
Okay, move on. Yeah.
Myra.
Yeah, I got one in my deep freeze right now. You could have. I'll try to remind me of it. You know, this dream of mine can't be done. I could realize it, but I can't do it without the help of the membership, without the help of our team on the chief within the chief and council, without the help of the committee we got here. You know, this is a team effort. It's not one individual. I'll never take the credit for doing it myself. It's a team effort that we all got to work on. That's one thing I'd like to say. Thank you.
Good enough. Healy is next. Good one for Lance.
So-
Healy is next.
Thank you, Councillor Terry, or Board of Director Terry. And as you can see, we're very fortunate to have somebody who is incredibly passionate about coming from a long line of farmers and ensuring the continuation of that on. I'd also like to mention that you know, all the initiatives that Board of Director Terry talked about, that's really a collective of all of us as board of directors as well. And that I would also like to give acknowledgement to the other board of directors around the table, your chief and council, that are equally very committed to food sovereignty, as well as where we're going to go in the future as far as bringing some of that back. And what you will see is that we have had several meetings around the council table, but as well as with staff, and the importance of the land use plan that we're talking about coming up in the next year. How much land will be used for farming, and how much of that land will be used for farming for people that lease our lands? How are we going to have sustainable farming practices on Cowessess with the reality of sometimes that employment? How are we going to train people to become farmers? Because honestly, being a farmer, I think, is the hardest job in the world. Anybody who's come from a farming family knows that there's no days off. When it's time to go, it's time to go. That's why Councillor Terry's so tired, is because for the last few weeks, he's been going from sun up to beyond sundown. And that's one of the realities of our nation, is that many people, when they farm, it's for their families, and turning that thinking to be from, and their investment is into that land and that benefit to their families, and knowing that they're working for that generational. And with us, he mentioned the Hutterites. It is very similar to that collective farming practice, because we're trying to train people to be dedicated to the farming benefits of the collective as opposed to the individual families that have been traditionally, that has been not only on Cowessess, but in the prairies here. So we have some work to do. Prep Center Barry, we've talked with him. We've talked about working with people where they're at and really trying to instill that feeling of farming, as well as that hard work ethic, and allowing for that for the people. There's so much that we consider every day: the impact of water, and do we have enough water, the sustainability of the sources. We talked about the 5,500 of acres of land with 4C, but also that until we decide what exactly, especially on our home nation, what it looks like first and foremost for us to raise healthy and happy children and grandchildren, and have those family gardens and have opportunity for chicken coops and all of those types of small farm bees. Councillor Terry, as well as his wife Darlene, their family, they're also beekeepers, and beekeepers are so important as well. So we're looking at all of those diversifications within that, and we're lucky to have that expertise. But when we say like that, we've had these 10 sessions, everything is interconnected within the other area. And only in putting this all together, we're going to move forward. So we're very excited about the 4C ranch and farming. And I'd also like to give Councillor Terry some credit because, we had some unfortunate days. I think it was 2016, 17, 2012, where we were at the lowest that we could possibly be in terms of reputation for especially farm ranch animals. And we have really, from that time, have really worked hard as Cowessess, the leadership before us especially, really worked hard on having the reputation built up with the lands as well as the ranch. And Councillor Terry was definitely a part of that. So moving on from that place, we have treaty land entitlement. And as responsibility on our council, there's one council member that becomes the chair of the TLE. She's a member, and then she has become the chair, pardon me, and that's Councillor Allison. And I'm handing over the microphone to Allison Councillor Allison, to invite up our trustees and then to have our presentation on TLE.
Thank you, Chief Erica. Just to reiterate and make more clear, upon election, there is one appointed trustee or one appointed counselor that goes to the trustee table to sit as a trustee for the band as a representative from the table. And the trustees vote their chair in. So it's not automatically your counselor that becomes the chair of trustee. So I want to make sure that I give thanks. He's not here today. The chair before me was Barry Sparvier, and long-serving trustee and a total asset to the table. And I've learned a lot from him, not only in my life growing up. He was also my ball coach growing up. So, I always would like to acknowledge his service to the table. I also like to acknowledge Councillor Malcolm, because he was the trustee before myself from the representative, correct? Well, thank you, Councillor Malcolm. It was a big shoes to fill, but I'm trying to slowly grow to be as cool as my Uncle Malcolm. So MC, good luck, wish me luck, send me those vibes, hey. I have a hat and I don't want to wear it to stew extra. So thank you for your patience. I'm just gonna be myself. I'm part of Team Awkward and we're gonna get through this together. So as the chief has directed me to do so, I'm going to do that first, and I'll call you up one at a time, and then you can say hello and join us here. So who are we have first? You want to come up or do you want me to make the announcement? Cue the music. Dare, dare, dare. So here we have veteran, huh? I'll let you do it. I'm team awkward, like I said. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Della Delorme. My real name is Dolores Delorme, but everybody knows me as Della Delorme. This is my second term of being a trustee off reserve. I live in Saskatoon, and I really enjoy working with the TLE trustees. They're a great bunch of people, and it's a very exciting time right now as we grow and see the potential of what we can be. It's really exciting. I just wish I was younger to be able to live through all these exciting times. But anyways, I lived most of my life off the reserve. I left when I was 12 years old. My parents actually left when I was 7 years old. My parents are James and Bessie Delorme, and I'm the youngest one of 6 kids. But I moved to the city when I was 12 years old and grew up in the urban centers and worked from 1975 till 2016 in mostly the private public sector, mostly in education, training, human resources area. But I really enjoyed my time in the education sector. And during 1975 to 2018, along that line, I got an education, which I was very grateful that my band paid for and allowed me to earn my living. But I always wanted to give back to my people because Cowessess was so gracious to educate me and give me a good life. So I always wanted to find a way to repay. And with that, once I retired, opening with the TLE trustees came open, and so I applied and I got in, and my term was up and I reapplied, and I was quite fortunate to get back in. So I'm really enjoying my time. I like to thank Ronna Lee for the wonderful prayer she gave before our meeting started. I want to thank the people for the food, enjoyable supper, and I'd like to welcome our new trustees. It's a learning process, I know. It's a lot of reading. The TLE entitlement agreement is our Bible that we follow, and we don't fall out of those lines. That's what guides us and tells us what we can and cannot do. So, and it's quite a legal document. It's a lot of reading. And the added on duties is with the For Trust. And when I was going to university, I had an opportunity to work at the TLE office as a summer student. And after I finished my summer employment, I was hired part-time. So I used to come and travel from Regina to the reserve 1 day a week to come and work at TLE trustee. So that gave me a good knowledge base for what I'm doing right now, sitting as a trustee. And I really, really appreciated that. But the For Trust is another added duty onto what we do. And that was something new, because when I was also too, I should take a step back. When I served a 3-year term as a council member, and we were paired up in teams to sit on different boards. And Lloyd Lara was the counselor that was appointed to TLE, but because we were in pairs, I wasn't recognized as a member, but because I was paired with that, I was also sat as the lead on finance and administration at the band. But I went to every meeting, never missed a meeting. And I learned a lot during that time. And I really appreciate having that knowledge base as I sit here as a trustee, and hope that, you know, we do all the best we can for our people, our membership as a whole. Thank you.
Miigwech, thank you, Della. Oh, hold on, you gotta come sit up here. Yeah, you gotta sit in, just to extend my, thanks to Della, she really made me feel welcome at the table when I showed up and helped me, you know my role, and, always, always could be able to depend on to ask questions since I've been there for the past year. So we'll go who's close here next. I didn't know if you didn't have to prepare a speech, but but that's good because I said, it's good. I got 3 slides and it's all going to be said and then we'll coast on out of here. Hey, Uncle Malcolm. All right. Here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eunice Tanner, and this is going to be really short and sweet because I'm very nervous about this. And I'm short and sweet. Okay. My parents were Alec Tanner. Everyone knew him as Cito. My mother was Harriet Tanner. Everyone knew her as Chicky. And I'm the second youngest of 8 children in my family, of which there's only 3 of us left now. I have an older sister and an older brother. Lived on the reserve. I went to boarding school, or actually day school here, and only till grade 8. Then I moved off the reserve. I finished high school in Moose Jaw. I went to university and I got my degree in business administration. I came home in 2011. I was off the reserve, on and off, back and forth. And then I came home finally in 2011 again, but to be the human resource manager for under Grady when he was the chief, Grady Leroy. So I was there for about 5.5 years. And then I left from Cowessess and worked in several other First Nations. And then I moved back home. I was in Grenfell, actually, where I did my first garden. And thanks to Terry, I'm really excited about these gardens now because I'm going to do another one. And because I'm living in my mom and dad's house now. And I really like it there because it's not in the upper sub or the lower sub. It's actually, a nice big yard. So that's what I'm really looking forward to is gardening this year. And what else can I tell you? The reason why I'm here is because I applied for every committee that there was, and I got this. I was so proud to be appointed to this. Don't know much about it because I was never in lands, but you know what? I'm going to give it all I can and learn as much as I can and give back to the community as much as I can. Thank you.
Allison, what she's not telling you is when we first started the TLE office, before we even had TLE, she was one of the administrators, full-time admin when she started. And we had to get together the first voters list. And we didn't get all that stuff like you get from Indian Affairs all printed out. We had to make it from scratch. And we had to go through every single name. And we made our own program. We used our own program that we created in the office. So she was one of the ones worked hard all those 3 years that we were there. Good enough.
Thank you. We'll cruise through this. I'll invite Kevin. I know I'm going to let you do it all.
What, I get to do it all? Nice, thanks. I'm Kevin Friesen. I'm one of the off-reserve TLE trustees. I came back home in 7 years ago now, and I've always been able to fortunately sit on one of the committees, housing, TLE. So it's been great that way. I live up in PA, and after this meeting, I'll be going home. Should be home by about 2, so back at the hockey rink at 7 in the morning, so it's gonna be a long weekend. So I'm gonna keep it short. I don't want to be up here all night and be like Terry. Yes, I do have Leroy bloodlines.
See, one of the things I'm learning as you go, if you have the patience, the things you want to say are eventually said. That is kidding. They'll all come. I'll ask Kay to come up next. While I have time when she comes, I also want to say like they're in the beginning, like what Eunice was talking about, or Della, pardon me, when you have a backer from the council. And initially when I got sent here, I like to acknowledge Councillor Ira because he was going to back me, and he comes to meetings when I ask him to, and he always answers my questions. So we were joking about it the other day. Before I forget, because I see you, I like we were joking about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm part of Ira's army, Team Water. So
Thank you, Councillor Allison. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla. On the list there, I'm Kathleen. But yeah, I think I've been known as Kay my whole life here on the reserve. Yeah, and no one knew who Kathleen was. So if anyone, yeah, you must all remember Malcolm's sister, Puss. She was Kathleen, and I'm told I was named after her. So I always keep that in mind. So yeah, I grew up here. I'm Terry's sister. My parents were the late Harold Leroy, and my mom is Rosaline Leroy, and she was a Delorme. So I have a lot of Delorme relatives in the room here as well, and a lot on the Leroy side. I grew up here, but we left the reserve when I was 17, and I lived off Reserve Regina and Saskatoon for 40 years. And then about 5 years ago, you're going to all start adding up all the numbers I said, and you'll all know how old I am. I'm going to be ready to retire soon. So about 5 years ago, I started coming back and forth. Took a job at the band office here and worked here for a few years, or for a few months. Went back to FSIN. Actually, over a period of 1980 to about, I guess it was about 2021. Over that whole period, I worked at FSIN under about 5 different chiefs in about 5 different departments for a period of probably about almost 20 years of the 40 years that I was off reserve. And also had a number of different great opportunities working with the Office of the Treaty Commissioner, working with RBC and the private sector, worked with the provincial government for 5 years. So I have a wide range of experience. I have had a lot of my positions, I worked within the TLE area, but never directly as a trustee or overseeing a TLE agreement at the band level. When I was working with the province, I did work with a number of First Nations as they were signing their TLE agreements, when they were looking at provincial departments and agencies that might have third-party interests on the lands. Then I would work with them to help resolve those third-party interests. When the framework agreement was being negotiated, I was the executive assistant to FSIN's lead negotiator. So all while those clauses in the big, long framework agreement were being discussed and negotiated at the tables, I was at that table, and I saw the discussions and how everything was unfolding and evolving. So I've had a lot of experience and knowledge with TLE, but I'm really looking forward now to working with Cowessess as a trustee to play a part in helping to get all of the lands that we have purchased transferred to reserve status, to see that the lands are developed and that we're profiting from them, that we're putting them to good use. And if there's additional, I know that there's additional lands that could be purchased. So just working with the lands department and all of the TLE staff to, and my fellow trustees and everyone else to help do my part and our part as trustees to make sure that the trust monies are managed well and that the lands are managed well. So I'm really looking forward to that.
thank you, Kay. We have one more. A stump.
My name's Daryl Pelche. I'm the son of late Daryl Pelche. My mushum was Edwin Pelche, senator. Not really used to talking in front of people. I didn't know I was going to do this, but I know I was a TLE trustee, and one of the things that I really enjoyed walking away from that term was thinking about our kids and our grandkids and some of the choices and decisions that we made. One of the bigger ones was finally getting our monies into a better and higher return. It was kind of sitting idle for a little while, and I was really fortunate to do some of the interviews and with our team and make the right choice and getting it invested to get a really good return on it. I look forward to this term. I'm not 100% on where we are, and I've kind of fell behind. I got to do a lot of reading, so, but kind of excited to, make some more choices that always going to have the best interests of our kids and our grandkids looking forward in our future as a community. I owned and operated Chimo's Drilling and Excavating for 12 years. We've done a lot of big projects around the city. Other than that, I moved here, I think about a year ago now. I'm grateful that Cowessess gave me a house on the upper sub. So it's good to be home, good to be cutting trees and stuff like that. So, but I think I'm going to cut it short, and thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, round of applause. It is good to be home. I just say that home and acknowledge our ancestors for all the work that they've done to help us. Myself, notable point, my very first job as a summer student, I was sent to lands, you sign up for summer student job. So I did the mail book, my very first job. I think I was 13 years old that summer. So my very first summer job was also in the TLE lands department. I don't know if anybody knew that, but anyway, that's a fun fact. And I've always had an interest in indigenous governance and politics. So I really, I'm humbled and honored to be able to be part of both this committee, and as well as sit with the trustees at that governance table. The act that we follow is not only for the trustees, it's also administered by the chief and council. And that's who selected our trustees. And it was a process and learning onboarding as well for that agreement that we follow for our TLE. So it's all of us together, and now we're moving forward. And I think that that's such a great thing. So I was appointed the chair from the TLE table. Former trustee Barry had stepped down maybe 4 or 5 months in. He was juggling because he was now a senior manager in his role. So, and that's, so that's why I wished him well, but that's how I ended up being appointed as the chair. And moving forward, we'll follow the Trustees Act and review as we go. We have a solid table. So we can go a slide and we'll get through. Oh, also, the one trustee, she's gone to dancer style. She went to the trip to Albuquerque. Debbie Pelche was also appointed as a replacement trustee to somebody stepped down. Fawn Redwood stepped down. Debbie was appointed to replace her until the end of her term. She couldn't be here this evening, and I wish her the best of journey. All right. Corey made this slide. We understand TLE. We didn't receive, we got it, had to negotiate through many years of hardship and oppression. And so Cowessess in 1996 signed onto the framework with the province and the federal crown. And we've compiled this so we can cruise. My numbers didn't quite match Alex, or like we're gonna have to hash that out after. I reviewed the file manager on Monday with our ATR consultant, Ralph Beatty, who is the long-time serving TLE director for us. And he's agreed to stay on and in his retirement to help us as a consultant with ATR. So, and it's going very well. Just the history, Cowessess reached shortfall under the terms of CFN settlement agreement on January 8th, 2008. When we reached shortfall, that meant 53,312 acres of land returned to reserve. The three parties to the agreement came into effect on March 14th. And we were, through the agreement, we became eligible to get 189,367 acres of land back. As of my file manager review on Monday, 76,303 have reached reserve status. 14,934.23 remain in fee simple. And those are the lands that are administered through the agreement by our table of trustees. So there's 46 ATRs files still in progress that are sitting in that file manager moving to reserve. A lot of them are coming up. We were kept it brief because, slide please. Oh, so this is brand new because we just had our oath of office today. Our new trustees were appointed by Chief and Council on April 5th, 2024. So I just wanted to make a public memo that once the audit for 2023 is complete, the trustees will host a public meeting for membership that includes that presentation of the audit. And we also plan for a thorough update on the progress of our ATR file manager, and also where we can take questions and input regarding to our duties as trustees on behalf of the nation. So I also really here thank our outgoing trustees for their exemplary service to our nation. We had outgoing Joanne Buckles, Barry Sparvier, and Linus Lara. I just really send a thanks to them all for their service to the nation. Barry, I think he said he was 12 years on the board. So that's, thank you all very much. Anybody who steps forward for a role is, they're putting themselves in, on behalf of the nation, and that's, selfless service. So I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart and soul. Is that the last slide? Oh, okay. Where are we going? One more thing I was going to mention. The last one update that we had at the last motion of the last was we added, and the minutes have to be passed. We will be adding 156 point something acres of urban land that was referred to the Hawkstone purchase once the minutes are passed. So the trustees have voted to purchase that parcel of land in urban Regina at that last meeting from the table. So that'll be moving forward. That's another, so we'll add that to the number. It hasn't been added to the ATR file yet. So that's where we are. The biggest piece of business moving forward. We also have other, long-standing like urban parcels that we are still at the table with the federal government to push them to ATR. So there's a few on the file manager that are all the administration and anything that's needed are done, and they're going to go to the minister to sign off. So we're looking at the administration of that land, a lot of it turning to reserve within the next year. So that's really good for progress for the last table, and everybody who sat as a trustee prior to be proud of. I myself, when I finished university, I also was appointed to trustee position. I served for 4 years, and it was really my first experience at board governance. And I really appreciated everything I learned and the people that I sat with there as a young woman starting her career. So the things that we set there and that all the trustees made decisions for on behalf of the nation and getting our land back through this agreement, that's all in for all the encompass of the whole. And that's how we all are. I always say, that's our main teaching. Me and Wakotawin, we're all related. So thank you, Chief, for your patience with me as I get through it.
Thank you, Councillor Allison, as well as Trustee Allison. Now, where we're going is we've been sharing all evening as well as the last 9 sessions, and really cognizant of the time that it's almost 9 o'clock and it's been a very long day. And I think if I could ask Terrence, just one last sweep of if anybody has any questions.
There was one online before, and that just brought up to remind you there's 4 trusts there, and they want to be active again. There was in the past the investment into individual business, and they just want that to continue.
Great. You know, I apologize. I was given direction to update on the 4 trust as well. And like I said, it's been a long day. And also, so brief on that, the TLE trustees are also responsible to administer the 4 trust. We did have our investment manager update. We have the final number, the official number, so that we can set our budget moving forward. The 4 trust has started already to allocate as of last year. So if the applications for the opportunities to access the 4 business related your applications, they're at lands. And if you need to want to be sent one, just reach out. We'll make sure you get one. We can email them to you. We're going to work moving forward now that all of our boots are on deck and our wheels are in motion together. We're all in the same canoe. We're going to work with communications to have those also available online within the next few months for you.
Good enough. The budget set for next year, she said, and the 4 trusts will be ready to roll pretty quick. The next question from Rhonda, a comment?
I have a question. When we purchase, TLE purchases land, do we also purchase the mineral rights?
Yes and no. There's a lot of say if the minerals belong to the, like if they belong, I quote and speak, I don't speak lightly, if they're quote in the Crown's name, I don't want to say they own it. Yeah. Because I'm searching for the right word. If they're in the Crown's name and we buy the surface within the agreement, those minerals automatically transfer to the nation. However, if they aren't, and there's other caveats, like right now there's a ATR file where there is a lien from a potash company. So we have to negotiate with that lease forever, how long that is, because that lease is with the Crown to take that over. So there's other things and clauses and agreements that come with the business of getting back the minerals as well. We do also have the option to just purchase the surface parcel as well. And I know some of those are sitting there. So what we would like to do is to have all of that laid out for those next few meetings coming up so that we can totally have and move forward with our strategic planning for land use, and to know exactly where we stand, what we own, where, if it's in fee simple, if it's gone to ATR, if we own the minerals, if we don't, all those kind of issues. So ATR is addition to reserve process.
Yeah, they'll learn. It's a big process. Look at this. That's what they're learning. And these ones is their first time, so they'll work through it, and they'll be able to figure it out.
Getting the nods from the mushums in the back. Yeah, that's correct. So I felt like I was confident saying that.
We were all watching you. We did.
Instant sweat here after I seen them all stacked up.
Okay, they'll learn the rules, and they'll keep on going. I think that's about it, and we can cut it off.
So just where we're going is, once again, as you can see, this amazing group of people. We have Councillor Terry in the back. They're all my uncles too. The mushrooms in the back are all my uncles too. So I'm like, do I say uncle, counselor? What do I say? But the wealth of knowledge and experience by these incredible people that are up here, as well as in the back, as well as the people that are asking questions. have been former leaders as well as current community leaders. And we want to acknowledge the equal importance that we have all different roles. As we look in the back there and up here, it's just overwhelming with the amount of knowledge and experience and how much we have to move forward with. If we think about all the people who stood or sat and were introduced in the 9 previous sessions, and then you add on the community people that came, the ones that were on line as well, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of people that are currently engaged and will be further engaged. And we're really working towards getting more and more people engaged and really interested so that you could come home, we could go to you, that we have that dialectical relationship, that mutual benefit relationship, and that it's about us being a community at the end of the day, Wakotoan, kin. And where we're going is also with the lands and resources, identifying the priorities from the committee, but also having a task force that reports to the committee that works on very, very unique areas. And that one of the first and greatest priorities is going to be assisting with the land use policy, and especially on the home reserve as well as in the TLE lands, whether or not they're, I was going to say, addition to reserve and or fee simple. And once again, we know that trauma is not only experienced by humans, it's experienced by our climate, by our waters, our lands, our air, as well as our four-leggeds, the ones that swim and the ones that fly. And that when we talk about trauma-informed plans, it's also taking into consideration the best use of all of God's creation or Creator's creation. And once again, acknowledging Angela Digile, who is our Director of Governance, and she'll be working with all of the different areas in order to bring together the laws and bylaws so that they all work together, as well as the policies and procedures. This is a huge monumental task. None of us can do it alone. None of us could say that it was our idea. All we can say is that we're only going to get there together. And on behalf of our council, we really thank you, all of you, all of us in this great plan that we have to work together. And the people that most deserve it are those that are yet unborn. And thank you for all of that work that everybody's doing. Huge shout out to Corey and Matt, Melissa, Tracy, all of the staff. She had to leave earlier, but Bailey, and it's been quite a marathon to get here. And everybody has a break until next Thursday, until our next, when we talk about the operational restructuring. So safe travels home. May Creator keep your home fires burning until you get there and while you're with there as well. Thank you all.